my great pleasure that we can introduce some flashes of network science for the audience today. I first apologize about the brevity of the time and the brevity of the presentations. We cut them quite short, approximately 10 minutes each. Obviously, I mean, it might be somewhat longer, some of them, to allow interaction, to allow questions. I think the discussion is the most treacherous time what we can have together. And therefore, my introduction will be also very brief. I just referred to a slide which I showed you before. Some of you were there at December when I showed this slide. And actually the slide kind of summarizes some general properties of networks. And these general properties quite well known, quite a few of you have known already before, and I listed them in December, so I will be very brief. Networks are very well connected, so they are small words. Networks do have hubs, which are nodes, which have much more connections than the average. They have modules, groups, communities, and so quite many times these nodes or modules have a hierarchy in the network. These are fairly general properties, and I would like to dwell on a little bit on the scale-free degree distribution, which actually results the existence of hubs, because I would like to convey you a kind of message as an introduction that eventually networks have properties which are predicting probabilities of occurring in nature, what type of organization, what type of dynamics might come in nature, in the natural environment around you, and therefore these general properties of network kind of were kind of reformulated in human thinking as an aesthetical category. This will be my take-home message at the end, but I will tell you quite many things before, not quite many, but just a few. So the first statement, which I think is important, that our mind, human mind, was actually developed, evolved, as a prediction machine to predict probabilities around us. We are quite good, humanity, people are quite good to predict probabilities, because that was essential to survive. If you were very bad in this, if you predicted probabilities around you bad, then you couldn't predict whether the lion will attack you or whether you have a chance to attack the lion, and that's not the same situation at all. So we had to be very good in that. And actually this is why it's a very central element of human thinking that probabilities around us are key, have a key influence in on our thinking. Now, how I would like to introduce this, or a little part of that, is the scale-free distribution of various things around us. For example, fractals, which are actually the distributions of forms around us, are conceived to be nice, conceived to be beautiful, if they are quite close to a kind of scale-free distribution, which means that you have large objects around you, but only a few of them. You have smaller objects around you, a larger number, and you have quite small objects around you at an even larger number. I'm sorry to simplify the scale-free distribution to such an extent, but this is the essence of a scale-free distribution, that you have very few exceptions which are large, if you're talking about size. You have an average which is quite abundant, and you have small things which are even more abundant. Now, if you have a room where you have only one piece of furniture which is large, you feel very uneasy in that particular room, because the distribution of the objects in the room, the size distribution of the objects, is not close to natural. If you see objects which are close to a tree or close to leaves on a tree, so the distribution of the size is closer to natural, then you start to feel convenient, more convenient. But if you are going to your grandma's room or grandpa's room, which is full of small objects which the grandma and grandpa were collecting through the life, that is getting also inconvenient for you, because there are too many small things around you. So the kind of natural distribution have been poisoned in the other way around. Socialist blockhouses were not really the top of the most beautiful sites what people can imagine, because they had two sizes as a distribution, the size of the house and the size of the window, and nothing in between. So that was ugly, actually. because of the lack of the proper distribution of size. But Gothic cathedral, like for example in that particular picture, has a wonderful distribution of various objects which are having a nice scale-free distribution of size. Now, moreover, quality text can be discriminated from dime novels or cheap text if you are examining the distribution of words. In a quality text, the distribution is close to natural. There are words which are used quite seldom, quite kind of sophisticated words, high words, and there are words which are used quite often. If you compare, for example, Kant's critique of pure reason with the statistical point from the randomized Kant, then obviously there is a big difference. And if you compare a kind of high quality text with a low quality text, same thing, there is a difference. Low quality text is more similar to a not scale-free distribution than a high quality text. What is interesting, quality music does help learning actually. Quality music has not atonal music like Schoenberg, which is a quality music of the 20th century, but music generally has a scale-free distribution of tones, has a scale-free distribution of power and silence inside the music. So, in fact, it is so much scale-free that the Bach music remains similar to a Bach music. So an expert would say that, well, it might be actually Bach, probably an early work of the great master. If you take out 10% of the notes of the original music by a scale-free, following a scale-free distribution. What you can actually do, you can actually reduce a Bach music to 1% of the original notes, and you still, an expert would say, it's a quite simple piece of Bach, but it's similar to Bach's music. So it is self-similar. These wonderful achievements of mankind, which are aesthetically pleasing, are self-similar to an extent that you can actually reduce them to their fraction, and you can still identify them that is of a certain type of music or certain type of writing. So, as a summary of this very short kind of thinking as an introduction, the generality of network properties first show the unity and order of nature, because they show that similar organization principles are active at the molecules, at the artistic objects, at the various biological objects like brain, like cells, and at the society level. And feeling the probabilities often occurring in nature became, I think, or I propose, a quality indicator and an aesthetical category in human thinking. So we don't know about it, we are not really aware of that, we are not calculating it, but still it is influencing us. And if we see something which is similar to that, similar to the natural probabilities, then we feel home, then we feel safe. If we see something which is completely different from that, then we feel kind of uneasy. Then something unexpected might happen. We think, and therefore our feelings tell us that something is wrong there. Something is not quite okay there. We don't feel really well there. Network science is good because it has several difficult questions. Like, for example, how can I predict network states? How can I drive networks to a preferred state? And Christoph Szalai, who is there in the audience, will talk about it as the first speaker right after me. The next question, or a similar, not similar, but a similarly difficult question, how can I visualize networks? Or how can I define groups in networks? And Máté Szalai, I'm sorry, the second speaker, and Daniel, there's the third speaker, where is Daniel? Here in the middle, yeah, Daniel's there. They will talk about that. Which are the important and influential nodes? This will be our third and last questions today. And there will be two lectures. One is presented by Zsolt Vasi. Where are you, Zsolt? Here, yeah. Together with Christian, who is sitting beside him. Okay. And Zsuzsa Svetelski will close the session with her contribution. Zsuzsa is over there about the important and influential nodes. I hope that the projector Péter will say why not in that. So we all the best. So any